What's up, everybody? It's I, the Juice Man 3941. And yes, that was the classic intro to when I first started doing videos nearly 2 years ago on my channel with Eric Clapton's After Midnight, which I do not own the rights to, and I only use it for purposes for entertainment. This is Metal Gear Solid, episode 88. More thoughts on Metal Gear Solid. Or Metal Gear Survive, I should call it. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about this game because I have very much just enjoyed the ever-loving shit out of this game. I think it's great. I just think it's great. You know, it's a fantastic game. They have done a good job with it. I don't know. I just feel like that. I've just immensely enjoyed it, and especially now that it's becoming even more manageable. I've got my first survivor, and I want to talk a little bit about why I've even enjoyed it more. And my character, I've switched to male. I've got a camp now where I can sleep and recover and do stamina. I've recovered the first survivor that you find, a nurse. She can help with healing and things like that. She helped cure my friend Reeve here, and her name is Miranda, and which is really nice. I had to go into an area that was a ruin. And it's my first, like I had said before in my previous video, going to dust is like going to a dungeon. This was truly like a dungeon, and it even had a almost Silent Hill kind of vibe. It was very freaky, very creepy, and just really cool. And then I had to fight like a bomber, which was like the sort of mini boss for that particular area. And Metal Gear Survive, to me, is so much better than what I think anybody really would make it out to be. And now that I've gotten a better grasp of it and understand better concepts and what you can do in it, I also watched a video called Videos That Are Misleading about this game that actually explains more in detail about it. I have, what I just switched to was these flags, and even though they're like, hey, when you go in the dust, there's no waypoint system, you can't do this, you can't do that, but that's actually not true. You can actually put down flag beacons, which will stay active unless they're attacked or destroyed or whatever, and like here's the ruins here, I can go to the guide marker there, I can go to this worm transporter here, and this is like, I guess, the next active mission, which I don't want to do just yet. To be perfectly frank with you, I don't want to get into it just yet. And but it's just become a game that I just really enjoy. And I know later on in the game too, you'll be able to craft farms, which is one of the things I can do now. So you'll always have a generous supply of food. You also get to craft water for purification area, so you can always have purified water. All your food and hunger becomes so manageable later on. So it's not like people are sitting there saying, oh, you gotta feed and eat and all this stuff every like 3 or 4 minutes, and you really don't have to. And that's the funny thing about it. You don't. You will get the things you need to get through it. I've upgraded this Poe a few times, so I do attack a little bit faster. It's just a great game. Like, you know, I understand that people are still 2 years later really upset about Kojima being fired from Konami. They felt like that he was disrespected. They felt like that he was a guy that, you know, deserved better than what Konami gave him. And in many ways, there are two sides of this story. Okay, Konami, and I'm not taking a side. So before you think I'm taking Konami's side, I'm not. This is what basically happened. Konami, when he was making Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, he literally spent like around $80 million on the project, which is a crazy amount of money. Which means that they would have to sell 3 or 4 million copies pretty much to break even, right? And what essentially happened in this particular game, he also used part of that budget, unbeknownst to Konami, because he never said anything to them about it, and created the PT demo, which was the playable teaser for the next Silent Hills that he was basically working on. Now, when you stop and think about it in that respect, you know, not only did he use the budget without telling Konami part of that budget to make that, he put it out on himself, on his own accord, on the PlayStation 4 and PC, and literally made a demo of a new game without telling Konami, with not saying a word to them at all, using money that was not approved for or any of this other stuff, and that's essentially what happened. And that's kind of crazy to me when you stop and think about, like, Kojima literally did this on his own without any input from Konami. And that's what Konami was really pissed about. Not only did you use a bunch of our money, part of our money, to create a new teaser for a game, you never bothered to tell us about it. And that's that kind of sucks, in that respect.
Please, I want you to listen to what I have to say.
And I think that is one of the biggest issues that happened with this particular title, and spending that money and doing what he did. And I think from a standpoint, here's my fast travel system, by the way, that you unlock too, which is pretty cool. I think I'm going to go here and go back into the ruins. Konami was pissed about that. You can't just take, Kojima could not just take money from this game and literally create a playable teaser demo, which cost money too, and not tell Konami anything about it, put it out not only for free, but using part of that money to do that is what Konami was pissed about. And of course, Konami also was going through a restructuring period where they were trying to were creative people who were in the creative end of things, or designers, was taking positions as if they were also like in management, and they weren't. And Konami was trying to get back to, hey, you're not in management, you don't have the say that we have the say. In Kojima, that's not defending Konami. That's just how they looked at it from a business standpoint. It's very similar to where I work, because it's exactly how they treated it. They didn't like the fact that Kojima went right off on a limb and did what he felt like he wanted to do. Now, having said all that, you also have to realize that from Kojima's point of view, and again, another stance is Konami was being very, hurtful to him and not allowing him to accept the award for Metal Gear Solid for Best Action Game and all the stuff that was going on. And they should have let him do it, but they didn't. I can literally see both sides of the coin, from his standpoint and otherwise. And I think that it got so out of hand. But it's also made people really upset about this particular title, for example. And I think that the sad part is what has happened is that a lot of people don't realize that the team, his Kojima Productions, most of those guys still work for Konami. They almost all do. And the fascinating thing about that is that they actually worked on this game. So even though Kojima wasn't involved, the people that he had been with and worked with and did his thing. This right here, by the way, is a ruin area. It's very much like a dungeon. It's very dark. I do have a light source that I did create, which is pretty cool. And this is what allows you to see, but you can walk around with it and it lets you see easier. But it does. You can't keep it out unless you keep it this held out to see. So the run area here is interesting because you can get a lot of basic parts from here and gather materials, and it's really cool to actually explore these areas because it's generally creepy and has an almost, like I said, Silent Hill like vibe to it. And I cleared it out once, so I don't know if there's any other materials or whatnot. So yeah, all this is still unlocked. Before getting attacked by this thing here, I'll get some Cuban energy. The Wanderers in the dust, by the way, they are not like the Wanderers in the regular field. You actually do get more Cuban energy in these areas than you do outside of that. And again, like I was saying, my thoughts on the game, because it has the role-playing aspects and the skill trees, because it has the exploration and these rooms that you can find that are essentially dungeons, and exactly what they are, it's really a really much better game than I think anybody would give it praise for. And yeah, I understand Kojima, people love him, and they would much rather, see him back in the foray. And yes, this is just, like I said in my earlier video, this is just an alternate take on what happened at the events of Phantom Pain. This is not actually canon, you know, so that's the truth of the matter. Let's see if we get attacked. Okay, get rid of him. But at the same time, you know, I think people who pass on this game, because the single player is a blast, the online is a lot of fun, but the single player is what I've been mainly focusing on, because I think the single player is really good, and it's a lot of fun, and all the stuff with your health and all that other stuff, it's very manageable. I gotta cure myself, which is fine, because you can actually get injured in the game, but even though some people I've heard have said they don't like that you why do you have to get injured, you know, bruised, bloody, but interestingly enough, it doesn't happen very often. It really doesn't. And every time you log in, like today when I logged in, I got two bottles of clean water, which was cool, and I've got two of you know, you get things for doing things, and that's one of the things that I enjoy about it. Now this bomber guy's back, which kind of sucks, because he can only really be attacked by his legs. You can kind of goad him into coming out here, and he'll blow up, and you just don't want to be around when he explodes. It does suck. It can't kill you. I can't get through that window, obviously. He's right here, and you see how he's glowing? You gotta be real careful, because if you get close to him, he eventually does explode, and he is attacking that other range, so he's about ready to explode there. You gotta get behind this wall. He'll kill everything in there, which is fine. This was the first little dungeon area that I first found by, and you had to get a this thing over here where you can log into, which was, you know, which is in this room over here, but I've already done it. I just came back here to kind of like gather supplies and do things like that. It's also the first time after you do this and you finally leave, you meet the Lord of the Dust, which is like basically the final boss of the game. Metal Gear Survive is with the role playing and the dungeon crawl aspects, with its creepiness and its overall vibe. It's really a good game from a single player point of view. Like, I've really enjoyed it. More so than I ever thought I would. And again, in my first video, I did state that I do not, in any way, shape, or form, I don't condone Konami's actions when they want to charge $10 for a save file. I think that is the worst thing, microtransaction I've ever heard of. Let's see here. I don't want to make sure I get back to where I came here. So here we go. And I don't know why that they are charging for save files. I think that's just a blatant misuse of microtransactions, and save files are in every game and should be there. So here's this here. I don't think it'll come alive, no. Containers are another thing that I've had a hard time like understanding, like how to actually unlock. I've never been able to do it. I don't know what it is about. There's this weird timing mechanism. It says easy and you hit R2 and the meter moves, but then it moves, but you gotta kind of like, I don't know, it's really weird. You gotta be like really fast. As you said, I can cancel it and then try again. It's just not easy. I don't know why you gotta unpick the lock again. I think that's a little silly, but like every time I go to do this, it's just not fast. Nerf Kick 1213 says Sieg Heil. I think that is a German thing. Sieg Heil. And there you have it. Thanks for tuning in, buddy, to the Gaming Roundtable. And I'm just mainly talking about Metal Gear Survive at this point, and just some more thoughts. This is an extension of my last video. Cool, I got some stuff there, and oxygen's getting low. Another thing you got to remember when you do replenish your oxygen, it does take away the durability of your oxygen tank. So there is and again, that's that weird kind of risk-reward kind of system. And I've always enjoyed risk-reward systems like that. I think they're good, and they're fun because you never, you're just trying to figure out the best way to get through it. And Metal Gear Survive to me is a victim of its own. Um, it's problematic to me because I think this is outside. Okay, cool. Made it back out. And again, it's very maze-like in many ways. They seen me. Put a fence up. The AI has been improved upon with updates, by the way. They're not completely brain dead anymore. They're just not. They will climb over the fence, they will attack it, they will destroy it, and they will walk around it if they figure out, hey, I can walk around it. I've had it happen a few times, so that's really interesting. So let's see here. I'm going to head back the way I came so I can go back to home base. I got to do this here and try to get back to where I was going. Let's do this. And again, like I said, this video is mainly more thoughts about the game, and as I progress. And like I said, if I want to show you this. If I put down a flag beacon right there, unless if it gets destroyed or whatever, that flag beacon will stay there. So you can actually put waypoint markers, so you really can't get lost in the dust if you trying to find your way back or whatever it is that you're trying to do. It's something that they did. We'll get some more stuff here. Hold on a second. We'll destroy this. And that's something that hardly any YouTube videos are actually saying anything about. Like, they don't tell you, hey, put down flag beacons and you really can't get lost in the dust, because you can carry up to 9 of them, so you can put a waypoint system in there. They can be destroyed. Monsters can attack them. Bigger creatures, they might run into them or whatever they're doing. But that's part of the system. So it's kind of nice to have that in place. And so yes, you can like, even though many videos said, oh, you'll get lost in the dust, there's no way to get back, there's no waypoint this or that, but the flag beacons, that's what they're there for. I would ask you all as gamers or who's tuned into the Gaming Roundtable, and you guys, you should really consider watching the video on YouTube that says videos that are misleading about Metal Gear Survive. And I think if you watch that, it'll give you newfound perspective on the game. I give the game a chance, mainly because, yeah, it sucks that, okay, so Hideo Kojima is not involved, but big whoop, it's been 2 years. Just get over it at this point. Just get over it. Just get the fuck over it. He's gone. He's got his own studio now. He's coming out with Death Stranding, which could very well be another Silent Hills type game. He's got Norman Reedus involved. He's going to do his own thing, and he's going to be fine, right? Even though I still feel like that he'll never make another Metal Gear like game, because they'll just be, Konami will probably get butthurt and sue over it or whatever the hell he's doing. But I'm just saying that if you're gonna do that, you gotta look at it from that point of view. You gotta look at it as, here's it's, Metal Gear Survive is a survival style game. It's done well. It is a lot of fun to play. I've seen so many people say, oh, that there's no stealth elements in the game anymore. It's gone. It's no longer Metal Gear, whatever. But it actually, there is stealth elements. Strangely enough. Because you can sneak up on enemies. You can sneak up on the wanderers. And you have to sometimes crawl around on your belly and stay low and all that good stuff. And that's all in the game. That's what's interesting about that. So that stuff is there. So if you want to get into that, and that's the thing that I have said about this game. I can actually now I can craft a crowbar. That crowbar, by the way, that you're seeing here, was not in that ruin originally. I literally just found it, and again, there is randomized loot and stuff like that in the game. I can craft a green or uncommon like survival bow, and then you get your melee weapons. I can actually craft this gun now. I actually found that blueprint in a different run, and that's what makes Survive cool. There's this adventure exploring roleplay elements that are there. I've also crafted an advanced weapon bench that lets you create more advanced weaponry. There's customization, again, that's in the game. All this stuff here, you've got, it's just great. Like, I really think if you all would give this game a chance, not even so much for the multiplayer, just for the single player. Over here, I can go here. This is where you level up. I can change my avatar the way they look, which is pretty cool. So you can do that. If I want to give myself a next survivor, I'll be level 7. It'll take up 10,000 in stuff, but I can go ahead and level up my skills and whatever. And again, I like that. You get different things you can use. I'm not going to do that now. I'm kind of saving my coupon energy. And, you know, it's just one of those neat things that you can do. So I can accept different orders. These orders change here, and you get things for doing that. Again, there's side quests. There's these weekly orders: hunt any bird, craft standard rounds, complete co-op missions, and that's really neat. And those change. Then you got your daily order. These every day change. They literally change into different things, and that's pretty cool. I love that aspect of it. I don't have any cases that I've found. And again, I think Metal Gear Survive, with its roleplay aspects, with its going into the dust and finding ruins, which are basically these dungeons, with its survive mechanics and everything that's really involved, it's a fantastic. It's just a fun game. It really is a fun game to play from a single point of view. And again, I'm at a point now, and I haven't built it yet, but I have the ability to create a farm, so I can have food coming in. I know in the later game you can actually purify your water. In Chapter 7, you'll be able to build a pot to, like, any empty bottles with dirty water, you can purify them. And then later on, you can build a purification center that allows you, you'll always have purified water, you'll always have food. You'll never have to worry about like your thirst meter or any of that ever, because you can carry a shit ton of that stuff with you, so it becomes incredibly manageable. And I've been able to manage this whole time. I've seen so many videos where somebody was like, oh, I have to drink every 4 minutes, and oh, like 5 minutes later I was dead. I'm like, no, it's like any survival game. You just manage your thirst. You manage the stuff you have to do. And I've been able to do that. I haven't died once, not one time. I've not had that problem. I've never died from thirst or hunger, because I'm always aware of it. Look at all this stuff here, like in my inventory. This is all grilled stuff. I got clean water. There's plenty of stuff. I've got a bunch of medicine because I rescued the nurse. As the game progresses, it becomes easier to survive. It's not that bad. Especially when you get used to this area outside the dust, you know where certain animals are going to be, so you can hunt them down all the time. If you want to just get some coupon energy, you know over here where this green little tower with the lights at, there's always wanderers over there. You can kill them and get what you need. Here's a black carrot. Again, this is food. This stuff is randomized every time you log in. I think the game is a lot of fun. I think because of its role-playing aspects, some of its survival horror aspects, its crafting aspects, its survive aspects, it really does everything good. One of the things I want to end this video with is this. I've seen so many videos where people have complained, well, Metal Gear Survive reuses its assets from the Fox engine from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. It reuses its assets. I can't believe it reuses. Like, they're actually mad about it reusing the assets from the previous game. Again, this goes back because Kojima ain't involved. Big fucking deal. You got shit canned. Get over it. We all know why. We know what was going on. There's two sides to both stories. I'm taking a side. I'm just saying. He's gone. But you know what other game uses its assets every year? Yeah, Call of Duty does. They use the same fucking engine. It's literally been admitted by Activision. We use a modified Quake 4 engine. Quake 4, the game's old as shit. It was on 360. It reuses the same assets all the time. Every game that has multiple sequels reuses the fucking engine, the same fucking assets. Why, though, is this game getting shit for doing that when every other fucking game does it? Far Cry does it with Ubisoft. Far Cry 5 is actually like a little bit better of a game than 4, but it uses a lot of the same shit that fucking 4 did, and 3. and so on and so forth. And I really fucking cannot stand that when people, oh, it uses Metal Gear Survive uses the same assets. It's like they look at it like it's a bad thing. Well, yeah, of course it's going to. It's running on the same fucking engine, you dipshits. Like, why would I not, why would we not reuse the same shit? Like, legitimately, like, why wouldn't we? You know, that to me is just a ridiculous statement, you know? Because to me, it's like, no, like, why, it would do that. All these other games fucking do the same thing, but you never hear anybody bitch about it. But in this game, they bitch about it. It's really weird. It's a really weird thing to me in that respect. But anyway, I'm going to leave you all with this. This is my final thoughts on Metal Gear Survive after playing it and putting the time I have into it. And I don't even have like a crazy amount of time into it. I really feel that this game, again, was shit on because of what happened with Kojima. That people were just, they're so enamored with the guy and they wanted to like legit like, you know, like they're so mad over Konami still that they didn't even want to try to give the game a chance. Number one. Number two, my other thought is, you know, with its RPG elements, with its survive elements, with its crafting elements, with its dungeon-like elements, with its in some ways kind of Souls-like elements, and all this stuff that it might borrow from other genres, but it does them all really well, and it's a much better game than I think anybody would give it credit for. And I, for one, recommend it based on the fact that, you know, even if you don't play multiplayer, like the single player is just a blast. I'm having fun with it every time I play the game, and every time I venture into that dust area, I just never know what I'm going to encounter, what I'm going to deal with. It's just got that great sense of progression, exploration, role-play mechanics, and everything that's in between. And it's totally worth your time. It's totally worth your $40. You should just, and if you can find it for even cheaper, just go out and get it, because I think you'll find yourself really pleased with the game as I was. Because as I said, as I've progressed in the game, it's gotten just better and better and better and better. And I love it. Like, I'm enjoying it. So definitely recommend it. This has been episode 88 of Metal Gear Survive. More thoughts here on the Gaming Roundtable. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it. Please hit the like button. And as always, gamers, good gaming.